Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the channel if you're new here. Welcome back if you're not new here. I'm Bearded Ford Tech. And a couple days ago, I posted a link on the community page about a Ford dealership in Charlotte, North Carolina that's being sued because they marked up the price of a vehicle over 40 grand. And the customer wasn't happy with that. It's kind of a breaking story right now. They did buy back the vehicle from the customer, but it didn't make things right. So let's put my take on that, what I think should have gone or happened in this. There's a lot of kind of red flags going on here. So let's get into that right now. All right, so here it is right here. Ford dealer sued over alleged $40,000 Super Duty markup. This was on March 14th, about a week ago, a week ago. It says that a Ford dealer faced some sort of legal problem in recent months. Some dealers are slapping markups on vehicles, manipulating both the reservation and allocation process. Most are upfront about the less than savory tactics. This is Mark Ficken Ford in Charlotte, North Carolina. They reportedly engaged in some serious shady tactics when selling a Super Duty to a customer named Alex Gallardo. Said he and his wife decided to purchase a Super Duty from the dealership and as typically always the case, signed the paperwork required to do so. However, strangely enough, the dealership reportedly didn't give them copies of the paperwork until several days later. Upon reviewing the documents, Gallardo made a handful of shocking discoveries. Well, first off, you spend a couple of hours at the dealership trying to make your deal and everything like that. It ain't gonna hurt to spend another hour reading the paperwork. Don't sign anything until everything looks good to you and it's everything that you guys were talking about, and then get copies of that before you take the keys. Get the copies of the paperwork before you leave the dealership. It says the sale price listed for the truck was 117 grand, which is 43,000 more than the 74 grand that he and his wife initially agreed to pay. Making it worse, the annual percentage rate on their loan was much higher as well. As far as the APR, banks are allowed, not banks, but dealerships have an agreement with banks where they can mark it up like 2%. So I don't know what his interest rate was and if it was 2% or what, but I do know they're allowed 2%. That's why you agree to the interest rate when you sign the paperwork, and you get copies of the paperwork before you leave, before you take the keys, and before you drive off. And the dealer added a host of extras that led to substantial price increase, such as gap insurance that they claim they didn't agree to purchase. Now, I will say get gap insurance and get extended warranty through the dealer. Everything else is just for them to make money. You don't need paint protection and leather protection and all that stuff. That's just a bunch of add-on crap. They just take it back to detail and spray it down. Doesn't really protect your paint, anything like that. Now, gap insurance is going to cover you if you get into an accident and the vehicle gets totaled and you owe more on it than the vehicle's worth. The gap insurance will actually cover the rest of that. So that's always a good thing to have. Like I said, it's up to you if you want to get it, but I highly recommend getting that, because if it does happen to you, then you're paying for a vehicle, the balance of a loan on a vehicle that you don't have. But apparently this couple didn't agree to it. And his wife's and his signature were apparently forged on the documents, which is a big no-no. You don't do that. He immediately contacted the dealer, which they agreed to buy the truck back from him, a development that understandably didn't settle well with him. Well, they bought the truck back, okay, but now he's got dings on his credit from them doing the credit report. You don't know if the loan actually got funded, so he may be owing money on the loan. Not quite sure about that. They may not have got him financed, and they said go ahead and take the truck, but he said that he signed the paperwork but got it a couple of days later. And usually when dealers say, yeah, you're good to go ahead and take the keys, you didn't get approved, and they're just trying to shop you to other banks so they can get you approved, and usually they'll call you back like, oh, hey, look, there's a problem, stuff like that. So I don't know if that's what happened in this one. He said all the time wasted, invested into looking for a vehicle, going to the dealership, taking the time off work, and what they offering wasn't a real solution for both parties involved. So they sought legal counsel. First of all, they shouldn't have forged anybody's signature. They should have given the paperwork to the customer when the customer took delivery of the vehicle. He should have got the keys and the paperwork in an envelope. They should have gone over everything, his interest rate, his payments, how many months, what he got, gap insurance, no gap insurance, extended service protection, extended warranty. That's all back in the finance. Uh, for now, the dealership's refusing to comment, obviously, citing pending litigation, but it is an alarming development. And I'll keep you guys posted because I'm kind of following this right now and I want to see what goes on. My take on that, when you go to the dealership, you guys agree on the interest rate, the payments look good to you, everything looks good, the sale price, everything like that, and you sign that paperwork, get the copies of the paperwork in the envelope when you get the keys to your new vehicle, when they walk you out to that vehicle and they put a license plate on it, or however they do that in your state. Do not leave without getting copies of that paperwork. You sign it, they sign it, you get copies of it. Don't leave. Then they can call you back and say, oh, hey, look, we had trouble because they're shopping you to different banks. So I don't know if that's what happened in this case, but apparently they marked the vehicle at 43 grand, and that's not cool. Apparently they forged the customer's signature. The dealership's not commenting on it right now. Understandable. They're not going to comment on something like this. Buying back the vehicle, the dude's credit shot now. Not shot, but I don't know what his credit is. But he took some dings to get financed, and then they didn't give him any paperwork. So read everything, word for word, because they like to throw things in there. You spend all that time looking for the vehicle. You spend all that time test driving it and going over everything. Take the time to read the paperwork. Know what your interest rate is. Know how many months you're doing it, and know what your payment is. The best thing you can do is have your own financing when you go in there. That way you don't have to deal with it. But get the paperwork before you leave. That's my take on that. That's where he messed up. Maybe he was just distraught, in a hurry, ready to go. Yeah, send me the paperwork. Don't do that. Dealerships will wear you down trying to sell you a vehicle, and that's really shady for that dealership to do. I hope this customer gets taken care of. Uh, hope next time he buys a vehicle, he gets the paperwork when he leaves. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one.